Hello Slaymates, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, I'm Kimmy. Today I have an update on a previous video. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband's affair baby's family to either come get the kid or I'm calling CPS? OP has graced us with an update, so let's just go ahead and readdress the mess. I am no longer divorcing Roger. There were complications from his heart attack and he has passed away. I am conflicted. He was the love of my life, but also a cheating piece of trash. That is completely understandable to have conflicting feelings, especially I don't recall how long they were together, but to have someone that is, you know, such a big part of your life, where you have children together and, you know, all of those years of all of those positive feelings, but then to have the cheating come up at the very end, it is completely understandable to have that kind of conflict in feelings and part of the grieving process, and just acknowledge, you know, those feelings, honor them, address them, and, you know, carry on with how you see fit to grieve. To the best of my knowledge, the mother will not return from Europe. The child is currently with her parents. They asked me what I wanted to do. I recommended adoption. Not that I adopt the child, but that they put the child up for adoption. They didn't like that suggestion, and neither did my children. Well, too bad. This is just a classic case of not my circus, not my monkeys. It wasn't her child. Her husband ran around, got this other woman pregnant, and there's no reason to pin her with the responsibility for this child. And even the blood family's not willing to take responsibility for it either, whether it's the baby mama's family or her children. If they're that concerned about their half-sibling, they can open up their home, but they don't seem willing to do that. But then the alternative is adoption, and they don't like that either. So what is supposed to happen here? What do they want to happen? They just want OP to take the responsibility for, you know, something that she had no hand in, and that is completely unreasonable. They said I'm being cold and cruel. I suggested that since the child was related to them and not to me, that they step up. Neither has accepted that suggestion either. Well, then they don't really get to complain. If they're not willing to take the reins, then they just need to shut the fuck up. I was the sole beneficiary of Roger's estate, so I imagine lawyers will be involved in getting the child some sort of support. I will pay what is ever ordered by the court out of the estate. I will not pay 1 cent out of my money. Once again, not OP's responsibility. But considering how trifling baby mama was, it would probably be a good idea to get that baby's DNA checked, because she was being, you know, shady in dealing with a married man anyway, so who's to say that she wasn't also being shady and seeing someone else while she was seeing OP's husband. And that is all I have to say for the matter. So that is the OP's current update. Hopefully maybe there's a little bit more coming up later, but we can go ahead and see what the comments have to say. First comment: get a paternity test before you allow any of your husband's estate to be taken. Already made that point, but it bears repeating. You know, something else I'm also kind of starting to wonder. I think that maybe since the OP took care of the baby a little bit when the baby's mother first abandoned the child, that somehow they think that they're entitled for OP to continue to take care of that child. And maybe that's where they got it in their little heads, that, you know, she was in for a penny, might as well be in for a pound. But obviously that is an unreasonable thing to ask of OP, because she's completely blameless, like, in all of this. I mean, once again, I expressed the sentiment in the last video, is like, I feel terrible for the kid, and at least hopefully the child isn't old enough to understand, like, all of these, you know, people just kind of, you know, pushing the child back and forth and trying to, you know, pass off responsibility, because that's got to feel extremely terrible for for the child as well. If the child ever, you know, catches a wind of, you know, their history and their parents' history. Probably therapy for the kid at some point. I mean, it would probably maybe just be best for everyone involved that they, you know, do put the child up for, you know, for adoption, and the kid never learns any of this. Ultimately, the birth mother and her family just want this whole embarrassing situation swept under the rug. If OP just takes the baby like everyone thinks she should, the grandparents and birth mother get to go on and act like the birth mother never had an adulterous affair with a man old enough to be her own father. That resulted in an unwanted pregnancy. OP's children get their sibling without having to actually care for them, and it also makes it seem like their father was forgiven when he died for causing all of this. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say this isn't the first time OP has been expected to suck it up and sacrifice to clean up the messes that she didn't make. And just like that was covered in the last video, they were also expecting her, even though she wanted to file for a divorce, to take care of him after he had his heart attack. So, and you know, the commenter's probably right that that they probably did. You know, she probably did clean up all sorts of messes prior to this. This was just the last straw. I guess I could see the emotional conflict that OP's children might actually have in this situation, because, you know, even though their father did a really shitty thing by having this affair, it's still kind of a, well, he's their dad sort of situation. So there might be having some, you know, some sort of conflict with that. So, you know, possibly just kind of having the child still taken care of in the family could probably maybe put a small band-aid on that. But they are, you know, more than capable, I think, if they really want to take that, you know, child in themselves, and they don't seem interested in that. So they want to have, it's the, you know, they want to have their cake and eat it too. So they want to have like maybe some sort of acknowledgement that you know, their father wasn't that bad because their mother's taking care of his love child, but not actually having to shoulder any of the burden themselves. Well, that was it for that update. Not exactly wrapped up in a neat, tidy bow, because we don't know exactly where the child is, or if they're actually going to put the child up for adoption, or if they're gonna actually, you know, take responsibility for their blood relative. And that is all I have today. If you like what you see here, just gently stroke that like and subscribe button and stimulate that algorithm. If you have anything to say about this update, or if there's any other subreddits you'd like me to cover, also comment those down below. And until it's time to come slay with me, go slay with yourselves. Bye!